everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful flower top. So this can be made using scrap yarn, but if you have different colors of yarn of the same exact type, that is perfectly fine because that's exactly what I used. I'm using this Flores milk cotton yarn, and I used several colors, as you can see, for my top, and this can be a scrap yarn project. So pull out all your scrap yarn that you have and let's make this colorful piece. For the materials, you will need yarn. I basically used one ball of each color. Each ball here is about 150 yards, I believe, and each ball is 50 grams. And then for the hooks, I used a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook and then a 4 millimeter crochet hook for the ribbing. And then you will also need a pair of scissors, a darning needle to weave in all your tails because it's going to be more like patchwork. And then you also need as many stitch markers as you can get. Just get so many stitch markers and have them on the side because these are going to give us kind of like the clearer picture of what it's supposed to look like before we get into the final attaching of the piece. And then you will also need a measuring tape. For this tutorial, I'll be demonstrating for a size small to medium, and for extra small, you should consider the same exact approach. And then I will also be explaining where to make the changes for the larger sizes. If you would like the written pattern, already available on all my online shops, you know the drill for those people who have been around long enough. So we already have a written pattern, and I'm going to leave a link on the screen so that you can grab yourself a copy if you wish. So let's get started. We are going to start off with our 3.5 millimeter crochet hook because it's the one that works the body of the flower. And then we're going to first demonstrate the flowers on the middle body of the piece. And then we shall build the middle body, and then I also come back and explain the flower for the sleeves, build the sleeves and attach them to the middle body, and then go onto the ribbing and the final touches of the piece. So let's get started. For the middle body of the piece, we have flowers that have 5 petals, and that's what I'm going to first start with when it comes to the explanation of the flower. You're going to grab any yarn of your choice. Each flower has 3 sections: the middle circle, and then the petals, and then we go onto the edging of the petals with a contrasting color. That's the way to achieve a very colorful look for our flower. So we're going to start off with a magic ring, 3.5 millimeter. Start with a magic ring, cross over your yarn like this, and this pattern is explained in the US terms. So insert your hook, grab your working yarn, and then you can remove your 2 fingers. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 just to close off the magic ring. This doesn't count as anything. And then you're going to make a chain of 3. This counts as our very first double crochet. And you're going to go into the magic ring with a total of 14 more double crochets. So insert your yarn over, insert your hook into the magic ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet. So we want a total of 15 double crochets, including the chain 3 at the beginning of the round, which counts as a double crochet. So far we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So we have a total of 15 double crochets, including the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. Now you're going to get this tail of the magic ring and close it off. So this is going to close the opening in the middle of our piece, and you're going to go on top of the first chain 3 of the round, insert your hook, pull through all, and that's a slip stitch to end round 1. Now you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, and just like that we are through with round 1. Now you're going to choose your next color for the petals. Okay, so let me choose this one. So when it comes to the petals, each petal is worked individually. So you're going to make a slip knot and attach your yarn where you place the slip stitch of the first round. In that spot right after the slip stitch, you're going to attach your yarn there and make a chain of 1. We've just attached, it doesn't count as anything. So you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet. Into the same exact spot, you're going to place a double crochet, and then into the next stitch you're going to place a double crochet, and then you're going to place 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So we are working our very first petal, and the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so that means for this row we have a total of 5 double crochets. And now we're going on to our next row, which is row 2 of the petal. You're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work. Into the same exact first stitch, you're going to place a double crochet, then 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And then into the last stitch, which is on top of the chain 3, you're going to place a total of 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And just like that we are done with row 2. We're going on to row 3. For row 3, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work. Now you're going to go into the next stitch. So this time we're not going to go into this one. You're going to go into the next one with 1 double crochet and 1 double crochet in each of the next stitches. So this time round we are not creating any increases, and we shall have a total of, I believe, 7 double crochets. Let's see, the chain 3 counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 stitches for row 3. Row 2, same thing, 7 stitches, and row 1 will have a total of 5 stitches. So this is where we make the difference. At this point I'm going to make only 1 row of plain double crochets without an increase, but if you're a larger size, consider making 1 more row of 7 stitches. That is for size large, extra large. Now for 2XL and 3XL, you're going to do 2 more rows of 7 double crochets. This is going to extend your petal a bit longer than the small to medium sizes. But for me, I'm going to make only 1 row. For size large, extra large, make 1 more row of 7 double crochets so that you're at row 4 before you start the decreases. Now when it comes to 2XL, 3XL, you're going to make 2 more rows like this so that you start decreasing after row 5. So I hope that makes sense. So once you get the number of rows that you need to make for your size, because at this point for size extra small, small, medium, you'll have 3 rows. For size extra large, large, extra large, you'll have a total of 4 rows. And then for size 2XL to 3XL, you'll have a total of 5 rows. So once you get to that point, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work. You're going to make a decrease. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through all. So we've done a 2 double crochet together stitch. Continue to place 1 double crochet until you have a total of 2 stitches left. So you just place 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then make a 2 double crochet together stitch in the last 2 stitches. So this is what we have for our next row. And then I don't want to mention the rows because now at this point we are at different points. We are at different rows depending on the size that you're making for. So we are now going to go on to our next row, which is row 5 for size extra small, small, medium. This will be row 6 for size large, extra large, and row 7 for size 2XL to 3XL. So you're going to make a chain of 3 and turn your work. Place your 2 double crochet together stitch in the next 2 rows, the next 2 stitches, sorry, just like that, and then place 2 double crochets together in the last 2 stitches. And just like that, we are done with row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, row 5 for the smaller sizes. And then you're going to go onto the last row. You're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and then place 2 double crochets together in each of the last 2 stitches. And just like that, we are done with our very first petal. Right now we haven't yet done the edging, so you'll have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows for size extra small, small, medium, and then large, extra large, you'll have a total of 7 rows, and then 2XL, 3XL, you'll have a total of 8 rows. So you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. Your last row should look like this, should look the same basically. And now we're going to go onto the edging of our, we're going to create more petals exactly the same as this. Once you cut your yarn, you're going to reattach your yarn. So you see this, you're going to go into the next stitch here and repeat the same exact process as the very first petal. Chain 3 into the same stitch, double crochet into the next stitch once, and then 2 double crochets into the last stitch, which is the 3rd stitch of the petal, just like that. And then repeat the same process from row 2 until the very last row. Alright guys, now I'm through with my second petal. You're going to keep doing this until you have a total of 5 petals. You can see what your work should look like. Alright guys, I have made a total of 5 petals. Remember our starting chain was 15 stitches around the very first round, and divided by 3, the 3 stitches at the base of each and every petal. That will give you a total of 5 petals, and this is what your work will look like. Now you're going to get an edging color. You're going to get any color of your choice. For me, I'll go with the gray. I just want a contrasting color so that you can see exactly what's going on. Okay, so we're going to go into the very first row of any petal. You're going to attach your yarn into the first row on the side of any petal, and as we work the edging, we are going to make sure we drag along these tails so that we weave them in as we go. So you can see you're going to place them at the back, and then you're going to half double crochet 2 times in the very first row. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all, and then 2 half double crochets in the same row, but working around the tails. So go into the next row with 2 half double crochets and continue to go in each and every row on the side with 2 half double crochets while weaving in the tails at the back of your work. Just like that. And then this is the last row. I'm going to go in there with 2 half double crochets, and then you can cut off these tails that you've dragged all the way from the base of the piece. And at the top here, you're going to place 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet into the same spot at the top of the petal, and then 1 half double crochet. The half double crochet, the double crochet that we've placed between the 2 half double crochets is going to be the topmost spot of the petal. You can mark it if you wish, because these are the points that are going to attach onto the petals of the different flowers. Now you're going to go all the way down with 2 half double crochets in each and every row while weaving in the tail that we got at the top of the petal, just like we have here. So you're going to keep working all the way down, placing 2 half double crochets in each and every row while weaving in the tail that we are picking from the top of the petal. If you don't do this, you're going to end up with so many tails to weave in, but we are eliminating them while creating the edging of our piece. So continue to place 2 half double crochets in each and every row until you get to the base. This is the very last row of our piece. Now at this point, I'm going to cut off this tail as well, and then you're going to go in the space between this petal and this petal. So in that space from the very first round, you're going to place a double crochet. So you yarn over, go into the space and double crochet there, and just like that, we are done cleaning up the edge of our very first petal. You're going to repeat the same exact process going all the way around. Okay, so in the first row, make sure you drag along the tails. So that you weave them in as you go. So continue to place 2 half double crochets in each and every row on the side. So once you've gone a good distance in, you can cut off the excess yarn of the tail that you've been weaving in, and then on top here you're going to place 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, and 1 half double crochet into the top of the petal, and then you're going to place a stitch marker into the middle double crochet, and then grab this tail, place it along the side of the petal, and continue to place 2 half double crochets in each and every row while weaving in the tail until you get to the base of the petal again. Okay, so you can cut off the excess yarn of the tail that we've been weaving in, and once you get to the base, you're going to place a double crochet in the 2 stitches below from round 1, the space between the 2 petals. So look what we have, guys. You're going to repeat this all the way around until you get back to this point, and I'll meet you back and show you how to wind up the edging ground. You go up, down, and you can see the side where we have worked the edging on the wrong side. We don't have these tails lingering around. So if you weave them in as you go, you'll save yourself a whole lot of hard work weaving in the tails. So take this step and weave them in. Alright guys, now we've made it all the way around. You can see the gray edging on each and every petal. Now I'm going to place my double crochet in the row below, in between the 2 petals, and then slip stitch into the very first half double crochet of the round. Make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. Pull through. Now we finished weaving in this tail, so I can cut off the excess yarn. So you can see how we've saved ourselves the burden of weaving in multiple ends, and now we only have 2 ends to weave in, the one from the magic ring and the tail from the end of the edging round. So the edging goes all the way around each and every petal. So you're going to turn your work to the wrong side and weave in the tail from the magic ring, as well as the tail at the end of the edging round. Make sure you do this on the wrong side of your work and weave in along the same exact color so that we don't create any confusion when it comes to the colors. So this is going to give you a very neat finish for your petal. I think I should go ahead and just explain the second flower at this point, because once you know how to do this, you're going to go ahead and make a total of 14 flowers with 5 petals, a total of 14 flowers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals. The flower that starts with 15 stitches into the magic ring. Now the difference is when it comes to the sleeves, the flowers that make the sleeves are going to be starting with a total of 18 stitches within the magic ring. So you follow the same exact instructions, but this time round you're going to make a chain of 3 and place a total of 17 more double crochets into the magic ring, so that you have a total of 18 double crochets into the magic ring. And you follow the same exact instructions, but this time you'll end up with a total of 6 petals, because 6 divided by the 3 stitches that we consider at the base of each petal is a total of 6. So you end up with 6 petals. So follow the same exact instructions and do the changes that I mentioned in this flower for the different sizes, even when it comes to the sleeves. And then when it comes to the 6 petal flower, you're going to do a total of 12 flowers. So 12 flowers for the 6 petals and 14 flowers for the 5 petals. And then I'll meet you back when I have all of mine ready, and we shall see how to assemble them to make the beautiful top. You can see the different colors playing their role of creating a beautiful multicolored project. So go ahead and make your flower just like I've showed you here. Make 14 of these and make a total of 12 of the 6 petal flowers for the sleeves, and then I'll be back to show you how to use them. Alright guys, to give you the bigger picture of what the 6 petal flower looks like before the edging, this is what it looks like. We started with a total of 18 stitches in the center of the magic ring, and this gives us a total of 6 flowers as opposed to 5 flowers, where you start with a total of 15 stitches into the magic ring, of course including the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. So I'm going to go ahead and attach an edging color the same exact way that I did for the 5 petal flower, and then we shall see how to do the assembly of the top. Alright guys, so I've used the 5 petal flowers, and you're going to arrange them like this. Just take a screenshot of this and place stitch markers where you have to join the petals. Now I'll go ahead and join these petals using small strands of yarn. I'm going to use short strands. It could be of any color, but just make sure you're neat. And make sure you're working on the right side of your work. So short strands like this, you can go ahead and just make a knot. You can turn it around to the wrong side and you start tying knots where you have placed the stitch markers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to get a crochet hook, and you can just pass through the strand in all the petals, at the corners of the petals, of course, because that's where we want to join the petals together. So something like this. Once you join all the 3 petals, you can go ahead and make a triple knot. I prefer a triple knot because it's more secure. So once you're done with that, it's time for us to cut off the excess yarn, just like that. So you can see how this point is attached. You're going to go ahead and attach all these points that have 3 petals. First, leave out these ones because we're still attaching some pieces to them. But where you're very sure that you're done attaching all the petals, you can go ahead and do the same exact process. You just get a short strand of yarn and pass it through all the 3 corners of the 3 petals where you want to join. Just like that, and then you go ahead and make a triple knot. So just to rule out the possibility of having so many colors when it comes to the joining, I will use this nude brown color at every point of attaching the petals together so that we have some sort of uniformity. So this is what we have. And now it's time for us to go on to the next. All right, so for this panel, we have a total of 6 flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what we're joining at the moment before we attach the next flowers onto what we already have. Sorry for the sun, it's on my desk right now. Okay, so I'm also going to join. You can do away with the stitch markers once you're done with the joining. I'm also going to join this point here, everywhere with 3 petals joined together. All right, so this is what we have. We still have some stitch markers at this point because we're still joining some petals there, but this is the general look of our piece at the moment. You can cut off the excess yarn. If you have some loose ends to weave in, just leave them on. We shall come back to them later on and we shall deal with them. So this is what we have. You're going to repeat the same exact process for your second panel. The second panel also has a total of 6 flowers, just like we have here. So I'm going to put this aside. You'll be seeing it in the background, and I'm going to deal with this piece as well. So You can see the arrangement is the same exact as it's the same exact as the very first panel. So you should have the same exact number of flowers. Let me put this like this and introduce this one. Make sure your flowers are on the right side. If you happen to place your flowers on the wrong side, just like I have here, I think this is on the wrong side, I'll just remove this and flip it over to the right side. So what we are doing right now is attaching them the same exact way we've done for the very first panel. So this panel also has a total of 6 flowers. Okay, so let me place it like this, flip over this flower. Let me first remove this so that we can focus on this one now. So we have this spot has 3 flowers meeting, and then also this spot, and we also have, let me see, okay, these spots here, we have 3 flowers meeting. So let me go ahead and join, and then shall see what to do next. Alright guys, I'm through with my second panel. As you can see here, it's the same exact as the first panel, which is this one. And now what I'm going to do is to turn this one so that the upper side faces the upper side of the second panel. Just place them like this. Remember, one thing that we have to know is the upper side is this. So make sure you locate the upper side of the second panel so they come and meet here. So let me first take an image. Alright guys, what I've done, I've placed one of the panels upside down so that we have the upper parts of the panel, which is this. This is the upper part of the panel, and this is the upper part of the second panel. So I'm going to put a provisional chain so that the flowers are not falling apart. I'm going to get a chain, and I just make a provisional chain that can act as a neckline that we shall later on remove. This is going to help us have a simpler construction of our work. It's going to help us assemble our work in an easier way, since we haven't yet created the ribbing for the neckline. So you see the upper part of this panel, you're going to we're going to make a chain that can act as a neckline, so that we can fold this piece into half and then start on the sides as well as the construction of the sleeves of our piece. So I'm going to just get a double strand of any yarn. Make sure this yarn is a bit thick, and then you're going to make a slip knot, and you're going to attach it in this petal right after this joining. At the top of that petal, you're going to attach your yarn. Later on, we shall remove this chain. Alright guys, you're going to attach your yarn in this petal. You can make a single crochet. This is just provisional, just for now. And you're going to make a chain of 20. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then go onto the top of the next petal and place a single crochet, just like that. And then make a chain of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So just follow exactly what you're seeing on the screen. You'll be able to get the same exact results. So you're going to make a single crochet on top of the next petal. So we've literally worked the neckline here, and then make a chain of 20. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. So I have my 20 chains, and you're going to now go onto the second panel, because this is the first panel. Now you're going to go onto the top of this petal, the petal right after this joining, and place a single crochet, and then you can keep moving your work around just like this, and then make a chain of 20. And single crochet on top of the next petal. We are working across the second panel. Sorry, it's raining outside, so I had to close the window, but I hope the visuals are still clear enough. And then you're going to make a chain of 20. And then attach into the top of the next petal, the petal right after this joining. This is the petal that we are going to attach to. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 20. Just pay attention to where this chain is passing, because we don't want to attach to each and every petal around. Otherwise, you're going to make a mistake. So 20 chains, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And you're going to go back to the very first petal where you attached your chain. So into that single crochet, you can make a slip stitch, or just single crochet on top of that petal where we began this chain, and then make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. All right, so let's see what we have. This is a bit twisted, but once I remove this chain, everything will be okay. So we have 6 sides for our neckline. 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Make sure you have that. And then you're going to get your stitch markers. Actually, you're going to get your chains. You remember the brown strand that we were using to attach the petals together? You can get it and attach these next 2 petals together. Just like that. Okay, and then do the same exact thing on the opposite side. So right now what we are doing is to join the shoulder seam. What we are tying right now is going to be at the shoulder of our piece. You join the 2 petals together. Can cut off the excess yarn. Okay, just like that. And this is what we have. Now we are going to fold our piece into half. This is the first side, and then this is the second side. You're going to hold where you just attached at this point and fold your work into 2. You should have the same exact thing going on both sides, as you can see here. The only difference is the colors of the flowers keeps changing at all points, but you should have a flower below each flower of the top panel. This is what we have, and this is the neckline of our piece. I hope now this makes sense. And at the moment I'm still working on the neckline ribbing, and it's the one that's going to sit at this point. We shall be removing the provisional chain, and then we shall sit the ribbing onto the top of our piece, and everything will make sense then. But for now, we had to find a way of taming the movements of the flowers all over the place. So I hope now this makes sense to you. So let's remove the ribbing and go ahead with the placement of the flowers. So another thing that you're going to do is to get some more strands of yarn, and we are going to join this petal here, the one that's not joined to anything. You're going to join it to the petal right below. So that petal that's not joined to anything here at the top of the panel, you're going to attach it, and this is going to be still on the shoulder section of your top. Cut off the excess and do the same exact thing on this side. Right, so this is what we have. I'm going to dress it up on the dummy just to give you the bigger picture of what everything should look like before we go onto the sides of the top as well as the sleeves. So this is what we have at the moment. This is what your panels should look like, both the front and the back panel, because we are just mirroring the same exact thing that's on the lower end onto the upper. So just take a screenshot and arrange your work the same exact way, and then I'll be back to show you what to do next. This is a total of 12 flowers, 6 up, 6 down. Alright guys, this is what we have. Oh my god, it looks so beautiful. Remember the joinings that we did for the shoulder seam? This is what they're going to look like on the shoulder of our piece. So this is what we have. 6 flowers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the front, and also 6 flowers at the back. Let me see if I can get for you the back view of this piece, so that you don't get confused about anything. So this is the back view of the piece. So oh my god, this looks so beautiful. So we're going to get back on our desk and go on to the next steps of creating the sleeves as well as the side flowers of our piece. You can even leave it at this. This acts as a beautiful poncho. You can just jump onto the ribbing of the neckline and then you create this beautiful flower poncho. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and create a top. Alright, now that we've seen the bigger picture of what everything looks like on the dummy, we're going to go ahead and attach one more flower on the base, towards the base of our piece. So still you're going to get 5 petal flowers. So this is one of them, and then I will get another one of 5 petals. I think this one is also fine, and we're going to attach them to this part. So what we are going to do, you see these lower 2 flowers, Okay, just watch and see what I'm doing. We're going to have something like this. This is the main piece that we already have. So you're going to introduce a new flower, and then you're going to get short strands of yarn, the ones that are going to attach the flowers together. Sorry, it's raining outside, yet it was shining so much. Actually, it's raining while shining. So we're going to get these short strands, and we're going to place our work like this. We want this flower to join onto this part that has the stitch marker. Alright guys, so this flower is going to join onto this part. You see this petal that's not attached to anything at the base of the top, just leave it out. So this petal is going to attach onto these two petals that meet. So we now have 3 petals meeting. That's why I told you to join before without joining the points with only 2 petals, because we were still joining some more flowers onto those points. So make sure you're only working on the upper layer of your piece. So we're joining 3 petals together. So this is done. You can cut off the excess. And then for the next petal, which is this one, it's going to join onto this petal here. I'm going to just go ahead and join them together. These are only 2, but it's okay, just join them together like this. If we need to attach another one, then we shall do that later on. Okay, and then you're going to fold over your work so that this petal joins at this point, but on the lower layer, this one here. So you're going to get a strand of yarn and then flip your work over slightly, because this petal here is going to join at this point. So you're going to remove the stitch marker and then join the 3 petals together, just like that. Okay, so we have our 3 petals joined, and let's see what we have at the moment. Okay, so flip over your work. Now this side petal, you can see it's folding over to also cater for the back side, for the back layer. Otherwise, if we put a petal at the front and at the back, this is going to make the base wider. So actually this also had to join to this, because this petal meets this at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this point as well. This is kind of shaping the side coverage of the top. Okay, so we can cut off the excess yarn and see what we have. You can see this. So that means the body is going to go here. You see that? So we're going to, you can see we have 2 petals that are not attached on this last flower that we just placed. So we're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to lay my flowers in a way that one is on top of the other. That way it gives you a clearer picture of how to attach your petals together. Okay, so I'm going to get another 5 petal flower and I'm going to attach it onto this side. So one attaches here, and then this one attaches to these 3. Sorry, this one attaches to this, and then this one attaches to the layer at the base. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back when I am through with that. All right, this is what we have at the moment, and I'm going to put it back on the dummy so that you can see exactly what we have. I want to be as visual as possible for this piece so that you can see the instructions clearly. So let's go back and see the progress of our piece before we go onto the sleeves. Alright guys, this is what we have. We've kind of built the side of the top, as you can see here. It's no longer just open. You can see the points that we have attached of our very final flower. We have this point, we have this point, and this point. So I hope that makes sense. Then we have 2 petals that are not joined. Same applies to this side. We have this point, we have this point, and this point. Having 3 petals joining at the same point, and we have created coverage for the side of our top and also kind of lengthen the top. So let's go on to our next step of creating the sleeves. This is what our piece looks like at the moment. I'll be taking some images as I record this video so that the written pattern becomes a walkover. So let's see the back side of our piece. All right, so this is the back side of the piece. Remember the motif that we have folded, the one that looked folded into half. That's the piece that's going onto the side of our piece, and it's creating a very beautiful shaping for the top. It doesn't create a bulge. So this is what we have, and yeah, this is what the shoulder looks like, the 2 joinings at the shoulder level, and then this line is the provision of where the ribbed neckline is supposed to sit. So just to give you a bigger picture of what things are going to eventually look like, I have placed my ribbed neckline on top, and yeah, it's coming together beautifully. Oh my god, this looks so cute. And then we shall also create ribbings for the cuffs of the top. But for now, this is what we have. Oh my god. Okay, so let's get back on the desk and work on the sleeves, build them up, and so that they join onto what we already have. Alright guys, when it comes to the sleeves, I have arranged something that you have to consider. An arrangement that you have to consider. Just take a screenshot of this and place your 6 petal flowers. This time we're using the 6 petal flowers for the sleeves, and you're going to place them as you can see here. Just take a screenshot and get 6 flowers and place them exactly like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach everywhere where a petal attaches onto the next. If there are 3 points, I attach. If there are 2 points, I attach. This time around, wherever 2 or 3 petals meet, you're going to attach them together. So let me do that real quick, and then I'll be back. Alright guys, now we are done attaching the flowers of the sleeve. This is what you should have, and the sleeve is going to have 2 flowers around. Let me say around here you should have 2 flowers, and this is going to be a total of 6 flowers. Now you're going to fold your work into half so that we can join the the piece into a round. So let's just flip our work onto the back side, and we're going to make sure we create a round just like this. You see, I am joining the corners together so that we can create a round. So fold over your work into half so that you form a round for your piece. So for this flower, you just fold it into half and then fold this into half as well in order to meet this one, just like that. And then when it comes to this one, you just place it on top of what we already have, all the corners like that. That means we are going to join this point, and then same applies to this one. You fold this one into half so that it meets the corners of this one that's also folded into half. So you're going to still get your strands of yarn and join them together. You join those points that meet. For example, this one and this one, you make sure you join the top of the two petals with a short strand. Make sure you tie these strands to be tight enough. You don't want your top to fall apart when someone is wearing it. That's why I opted for a triple knot. So once you have this, and then you look for the next place where the petals meet, and you're going to attach the top of this petal onto what we had already joined before, that spot there, because at this point we should have 3 petals meeting, not 2. So make sure you squeeze it in so that it's part of the joining. Okay, cut off the excess yarn and then look for another point where you have to join. There is this one here. Okay, join it onto this spot so that we have 3 petals meeting. This was the best way I could explain it. Otherwise, if I had gone in with joined 3 petals together, it wouldn't have made sense to the person viewing or following along with the tutorial. So this is what we have. At this point we have a round. You can see this. Your hand is supposed to go through this point like this. So we also have to join this point here. Okay. And then we also have to join this point. When you fold this flower into half, you have to join that petal onto these ones that are already joined. Our point is to form a round. Our main aim is to form a round for our sleeve. These petals have so many corners and we have to kind of tame the shaping of the top. So I'm going to make a triple knot at this point. Cut off the excess yarn, and then we also have this point here. It has to meet. Okay, so I think this is the last point of joining. and we're going to see what we have at the moment. Okay, so this is what we have for our sleeve. If you put your hand through, this is going to be a piece that you have to wear carefully. If you put your hand through, it should be able to fit into the space that we have created in between the motifs, as you can see here. And then we shall have a ribbing at the base of our cuffs. So this is what we have. And now we're going to find the best way possible to join our sleeve onto the top that we already have. So let me just put it back on my dummy and we see how to place it onto what we already have. Alright guys, now that we are done with the structure of the sleeve, we're going to reintroduce our top. Now pay close attention to what we are doing right now. I'm going to place the top the same exact way that I had done before, putting one flower on top of the other so that it doesn't get confusing. Okay. This is the folded flower on the side, this one, and this is also the folded flower at the base on the side of the top. So you're going to make sure your work is as neat as this. Just assemble your work like this, and this is our sleeve. So I want to attach the sleeve onto the top. So what we are going to do is, let me just demonstrate for this side. Yeah, we have these 2 points joined. So on this one, the lower point, you're going to grab your sleeve. You're going to have 2 petals that are popping up without, they're not joined to anything. 2 petals, this one and this one. So you're going to get the one on the left, this one, and we're going to attach it onto this lower joining of the shoulder seam. So the shoulder has this one and this one. So the lower one is going to attach onto the left petal that's not attached to anything. So we're going to grab our yarn and join this point to the left petal that's not attached to anything. Pull it through and join it. Okay, and just like that, we have 3 petals that are attached to each other. The next thing that we are going to do is to get this point here, this joining that has 2 petals, and we are going to join it to hold on, let me get a strand of yarn. Are you seeing this with the stitch marker? We've joined this to this, and the next petal that's joined to this one, you're going to remove the stitch marker, and you're going to join these 2 petals together with this point that has 2 petals joined. So find the best way possible to join that point together with the other 2 petals. And just like that, we have this joined. You can cut off the excess yarn. You can see how the sleeve is working out perfectly well. Oh my god, this is working out like magic. So the fact that we've joined this, we have a total of 4 petals at this point. Now we're going to do the same exact thing underneath, but before we do that, we are now going to locate the next petal after these 2 that we've joined onto what was already joined here. You're going to go onto the next petal. We have 3 petals joined here at this point. So you're going to grab a strand of yarn and join that onto this petal that's not attached to anything. This was the right petal that was popping up. It wasn't joined to anything, just like we had here. So this one joined here, and then this one is going to join at this point where we have 3 petals joined together. So it will end up having 4 petals at the same point. So do your triple knot. All right, so we have 4 petals joined at this point. As you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 petals joined here. So this is what the under part of the sleeve looks like. Now we're going to flip our work onto the opposite side and join this part as well, this one, so that we have 4 petals joining onto the 2 petals that are already joined here. So let me get a strand of yarn here, and I join the 4 petals together. Okay, so find the best way possible to join the petals. Okay, and make your triple knot. 1, 2, and 3. And at this point you're going to cut off the excess yarn, and we have 4 petals joined at this point. So just like we have at the front of the work, the last one that we just joined is the mirror of what we have here. So let's see what we have, guys. I'm excited for this piece, by the way. The sleeves work like magic. This is the armpit area, if you may ask. This is the armpit area of the top, and then the sleeve branches off from the top in a very beautiful way. I love the fact that it's not horizontal, it just drops down perfectly well. And let's see what we have for the first side of our top, and then we shall mirror the same exact thing on the opposite side. So let's see what we have at the moment. All right, guys, this is what we have. Oh my god, looks so beautiful, so beautiful. So these are the points where we have 4 petals meeting, and this is not going to limit the movement of your hands, by the way. There's still a lot of room in the armpit area that you can freely move around your arm. The only difference is here, this is still a bit stiff, but you'll see it on my model once she comes to try on this piece. And you can see how beautifully the sleeve has sat onto what we already had. So this is what we have. We're going to repeat the same exact process for the second sleeve, so that we have a complete piece before we go onto the ribbing of the cuffs of the top. But this is what we have at the moment, and I am really pleased. If you're getting value from this video so far, make sure you comment down below if you're excited about the final look of the project. So let's get back to work. I wanted to show you the back view. Okay, this thing shouldn't fall on me. So this is what the back view looks like. You can see how the armpit shaping as well as the sleeve shaping has worked out perfectly fine. And yeah, I think this is beautiful, very pretty. So let's go onto the second sleeve, and I'll meet you back when both sleeves are ready. Alright guys, now that we've gotten the general structure of our top, it's time for us to do the neckline ribbing as well as the sleeve ribbing for our top. And for that, I am using a thicker yarn, as you can see here. This is milk cotton yarn, and I am using color white. So you can use any color of your choice. That color should be featuring in the flowers, or even not, depending on what you want to achieve. So we're going to start off with the neckline ribbing. You're going to make a slip knot, and I am using my 4mm crochet hook. and you're going to make a chain of 21, or however long you want the thickness of the neckline ribbing to be. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 and 21. And my neckline ribbing is going to be a thickness of about 4 inches, as you can see here. So into the second chain from the hook, you're going to go in there with a single crochet and continue to single crochet in each and every chain across the foundation chain, and you should end up with a total of 20 single crochets, since the 21st chain was just a turning chain. So our neckline ribbing is going to be 20 stitches thick. Continue to single crochet until the end of the row. This is row 1 of the neckline ribbing. Alright, so I'm placing my last single crochet into the very last chain, and this is what we have. Now we're going to go on to row 2, and from now on we're going to be working in the back loop only. So you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work and go into each and every single crochet from the previous row into the back loop only and place a single crochet. So we are single crocheting back loop only into each and every stitch. You can see that I'm going into the back loop so that we can achieve that ribbed effect for our neckline ribbing. So into each and every stitch, place a single crochet, back loop only. And you should end up with a total of 20 stitches for row 2 as well. And that's the row that we're going to keep repeating until we get a total of 90 rows. So this is what we have. You can see the ribbed effect already starting to form. So after row 2, you're going to make a chain of 1 and repeat the same exact row. So chain 1 and turn, and single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch from the previous row. Alright, so keep working your ribbing until you have a total of 90 rows, and keep marking the 15th row. Every after 14 rows, the 15th, keep marking it with a stitch marker, and you end up with a total of, I guess, six stitch markers. Keep marking the 15th row. Every after 14 rows, mark the 15th until you have a total of 90 rows for the neckline ribbing. Okay, so you can see the ribbed effect starting to form. I'm going to keep working until I get the length, or the 90 rows that I've talked about. Alright guys, now I have a total of 90 rows, and as I had mentioned, keep marking the 15th row. As you can see here, we have this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and the very final row also has a stitch marker. So I have a total of 90 rows, and this should wrap around your head entirely when stretched, because at the end of the day, this should be able to pass through your head. And once you have your 90 rows, you will see the use of the stitch markers that we've just placed right now. So let me zoom out a little bit so that you can see the 6 stitch markers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you're going to make a chain of 1 after your last row, which is row 90, and you're going to cut your yarn, pull through, and then you're going to get a darning needle. Let me get mine here, and we're going to join the ends of the ribbing. Okay, so fold over your work like this, and we're going to join stitch to stitch. Just find the best way to do this. I'm not going to dictate, but just use your darning needle and join stitch to stitch until the opening of the ribbing is joined together. So I'm going into the back loop of the last row and then joining it onto the foundation chain of the ribbing. All right, so I'm joining my very last stitch to the foundation chain, and from here, this is what we have at the seam line of our piece. You're going to get the 2 tails, and you can just tie them together just like this and cut your yarn. So this is the neckline ribbing of our piece. This should be able to pass through your head. So we are going to reintroduce our top and see how to attach the points that we've just marked on our ribbing onto the top in order to create the ribbing when it's attached onto what we already have. Alright guys, remember the provisional chain that we put around the neckline of our top. We're going to get our strands of yarn, our short strands of yarn, and I'm still going to use the same exact color that I have been using throughout the project while joining the pieces together, and that's the nude brown color. This is the color that I used to join all the flowers together, and it's not going to change for the neckline. So you're going to cut short strands of yarn, as you can see there, and we are going to join these points. You see those 6 points? You're going to keep joining them onto the points where the provisional chain attaches onto the top. So for example, you're going to get one of the strands and then get the point where the stitch marker is on the ribbing, attach, and then get the point where the chain, the provisional chain, attaches onto the top, and find a way of joining. We shall cut off the provisional chain later on. I don't want my top to fall apart. So after tying your knot 3 times, just as we were doing for the main body of the top, you can remove this stitch marker. And then get your next strand of yarn and get to the next point where you have a stitch marker. Insert your hook into that row with the stitch marker and then attach onto the petal that has the provisional chain on the top. And just like that, you're going to make your triple knot. Make sure your knots are secure enough, guys. I can't emphasize this enough because your top will fall apart if they're not strong enough or secure enough. So once you're done with that, you're going to remove your stitch marker, put it aside. So you see what we have? go on to the next point where we have the provisional chain attaching onto the top. So we have here, just go all the way around the provisional chain and find those spots, attach them, and I'll be back when all of them are attached onto the main body of the top. All the rows with the stitch markers on the ribbing should be attached onto the points where the provisional chain attaches onto the top. And then later on we shall cut out the provisional chain. Okay, let's go on to the next point. All right, I believe this is going to be the last point because I've so far attached a total of 5 corners. So I'll attach my very final one here, the same exact way that I've done the rest. Okay, so once you're done with this, you're going to remove all your stitch markers at these points that you've attached onto the main body of the top. Once you remove the stitch markers, I have one more left. All right, so once you remove the stitch markers, this is what you're going to have. Now you're going to find the end of your provisional chain. Mine is here, and you're going to cut it out. Our main aim is to get rid of the provisional chain. You remember that brown chain that we made? Find a way of removing it from the equation so that we are only left with the neckline ribbing. So you can see how we are removing that provisional chain. And just like that, we have gotten rid of it, and we have the main body of our top attaching onto the neckline ribbing. So I'll get rid of the loose ends that are still on the piece, but for now this is what we have. Oh my god, this looks so good. Another thing that I wanted to do is, this is optional, but when it comes to the shoulder, there's this point. You can attach it in the middle section of the shoulder. So I'll see whether to do this or not, but if I end up doing it, don't keep wondering how that came about. This is optional. You can either attach it or just leave it like this. So I think I'm actually going to leave it, but I'll try it out and see whether it's an option that I may consider for the final piece. Now we're going to go onto the ribbing of the sleeves. We're going to create another ribbing almost similar to this onto the sleeves of our top. This is going to be at the base of the sleeves, and yeah, you're going to grab your yarn And we're going to create a ribbing very similar to what we had, but just a little bit shorter. So you're going to start off with a chain of 11, and the thickness of 11 chains is about, I guess, 2 inches. Yes, because 21 chains was 4 inches. So you're going to go into the second chain from the hook and place a single crochet and single crochet all the way back to the beginning of the foundation chain. So you're going to end up with a total of 10 single crochets for row 1. So that means the thickness of the cuffs or the sleeve ribbing is going to be 10 stitches thick. So these are 10 stitches. You're going to make a chain of 1, and just like we did for the neckline ribbing, you're going to go into each and every stitch into the back loop only and place 1 single crochet. Back loop only in order to create that ribbed effect that you've seen on the neckline ribbing. So you're going to end up with a total of 10 single crochet back loop only, and you're going to just repeat this row again and again until this can wrap around your wrist. For me, I think I'm going to do a total of 25. I want a total of 6 inches without stretching. So I'll let you know how many rows that I'll end up making for my sleeve ribbing, and then we shall see how to attach it onto the sleeves of our top. Alright guys, now when it comes to the sleeve ribbing, I did a total of 28 rows and made a chain of 1, cut my yarn, leaving behind a tail to attach the ribbing into a round. So I'm going to thread my tail into the darning needle, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the foundation chain to the very last row of the ribbing. And then for the sleeve, I kept marking every 7th row. So after 6 rows, I marked the 7th row. And I have a total of 4 stitch markers around the sleeve ribbing. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so we have our 4 stitch markers, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and these are the points that are going to join onto what we already have, the base of the sleeve, as I'm going to show you in a bit. So I'm going to get rid of these strands here by tying a triple knot just to secure it. If you have slippery yarn, please don't use this approach. Make sure you make use of your darning needle. So we have this, and now we're going to attach these points onto the base of our sleeve. So this is our very first sleeve, and we're going to attach the sleeve onto this point, this point, this point, and this point here. So you can see there are 4 points where we are supposed to attach this ribbing of the sleeve. So get your short strands of yarn. Mine are here. Just get 4 of them and start attaching the points with the stitch markers onto the points that I have showed you. So this is the very first one. And I make my triple knot and cut off the excess yarn. Do the same at the next point. So I'll just go here and then into the row with the stitch marker and attach. Then I make my triple knot. Make sure your ribbing, actually make sure your palm can go through your ribbing. Otherwise you'll fight with it later on. So this is it, and then onto the next point I do the same exact thing. This is the 3rd point, and then I'm going to go onto the 4th point and do the same thing. As you keep attaching, you can get rid of the stitch markers because you no longer need them. Once you secure your yarn and those points are attached onto the sleeve, then you don't need the stitch markers anymore. You can see what we have. And now the very last point is here, and I'll get my strand of yarn and attach into the row with the last stitch marker on my sleeve. Okay. All right, so let's see what we have. Our sleeve has been joined onto the sleeve ribbing, and if I can pass through my hand like this, this is what you're going to have. Oh my god, this looks so good. I can't wait to see it on body. So my model is on her way. We're going to shoot a few shots of this design, and by the time of the release of this video, we shall be having the final look of this particular piece on body. So this is what we have. Now you're going to repeat the same exact process for your second sleeve. As you can see here, you're going to make your ribbing and attach it to your second sleeve, just as we've done for this one, and then weave in all your ends, and I'll meet you back when mine is a clean look. But I think that's actually the very last step. After your second sleeve, everything is done. All you have to do is weave in all your tails, and then we shall see the final look of our design. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll meet you back when everything is clean.